Okay, before we start, this episode has actually taken me bloody ages to make. And I thought it was just because I had quite a lot going on this past couple of months, which I have. But then I realized there was another problem. I couldn't face her. Melancholic Madonna. I just couldn't do another video where I sit here looking emotionally ravaged while telling you what I've learned about life, while staring meaningfully out of a window. I'm exhausted by her. God knows how you lot feel. The woman has been through enough, and seemingly so has the bloody window. And what's funny is that the last couple of months haven't exactly been a barrel of laughs for me. But I think that's partly why I felt like I needed to laugh more, because it's just how I deal with things. Eventually, I find the ridiculous in it, usually starting with myself. So, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a new direction. Maybe I've suddenly decided to become a stand-up comedian at 56. God help us all. I just know that I want to have a bit more fun here. A bit more lightness. Because actually, I feel lighter. So let's see what happens. Anyway, let's talk about love. Obviously. Couldn't stray too far from the brand. So I've been wondering, when exactly are you supposed to be over someone? Seriously. What does over someone even mean? Because I thought I was. And then every now and again, something completely random and stupid would catch me. And I'd think, oh, come on. We're still doing this? And then because I'm me, I wouldn't just leave it there. Oh no. I'd have to investigate. Why did that affect me? What's that about? Is there something still unresolved here? Suddenly, a 3-second reaction to a song has become a full psychological inquiry. Maybe you just heard a song, Madonna. Calm down. Move on. Because I genuinely used to think moving on meant eventually I would reach this state of complete emotional neutrality. Like, you could show me a photograph of someone that I've shared years of my life with, and I'd be like, oh yeah, him. A bit hairy, wasn't he? Like, there'd be nothing. No reaction, no charge. Just this serene, evolved woman who's integrated her lessons. Which, firstly, sounds unbearable. And secondly, why? Why does somebody who once mattered to you eventually have to mean nothing for you to prove that you're okay? I don't want him back. That's important. Like, there's no little part of me sitting here going, perhaps one day. No. That shop has closed. Shutters are down. We know how that ends. But can I remember something lovely and think, God, that was lovely? Of course. Can I remember something else and think, Jesus Christ, Madonna, what were you doing? Also, yes, both are available. And then, of course, enough time passes and you calm down a bit. Because when you're angry, it's easy, right? He's an asshole. I'm done. But then enough time passes and you're not angry anymore. And you become reasonable and you start to remember things properly. Because now you have to admit, there were beautiful things. There was real love. There were also things that absolutely did not work. There were things I accepted that the woman I am now would look at and go, darling, no. And that's much harder than just deciding the whole thing was terrible. Because I'd quite like it to be one thing, you know? Like, was it a great love? Was it a complete disaster? Did I grow enormously? Did I lose my bloody mind? What was it? And apparently, the answer is, bit of everything, babe. And this was the bit that I couldn't get my head around for ages, because I knew I didn't want to go back. I was actually quite clear about that. And some part of me was obviously expecting to feel immediately fantastic about it. Like, right then, where's this freedom that everybody was talking about? And why was I still sad about things? And eventually I realized that I really wasn't missing the relationship. I was missing what I had assumed was going to happen. Because you don't realize you're doing it when you're with somebody for years. You just assume that they're going to be there. 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Older, probably still annoying the hell out of each other. But they're there. And suddenly, they're not. And I remember thinking, God, I'm actually sad about the things that never even happened. Things we never even did. Years that we never got to. I was missing a future that only ever existed in my head. Which sounds ridiculous. I'm grieving imaginary Thursdays now. Great. But actually, they didn't feel imaginary to me. So eventually I stopped asking myself, am I over him? Because honestly, over what? The person, the relationship, the good years, the bad years, who I was then, the future I thought I was going to have. There's quite a lot of admin involved there. And I hate admin. So I started asking myself something much simpler. Am I still waiting? That's the one. Am I waiting for him to come back? No. Am I waiting for an apology? No. Am I waiting for him to finally understand something I've spent years explaining in imaginary conversations in the shower? We may need to come back to that one. But seriously, am I building my life around something happening over there? Or am I actually here? Because I think that's a much better measure. You can remember somebody without being stuck. You can miss something without wanting it back. You can think, God, I really love that man. And 5 seconds later, thank Christ we're not married. Because apparently human beings are capable of having two thoughts at once? Who knew? And maybe that's what I was trying so hard to get rid of. The contradiction. Because I wanted things neatly filed away. And I don't anymore. I don't need to hate anybody. I don't need to pretend that it didn't matter. And I don't need to perform indifference. Because I'm just living. And that's actually become the interesting bit, because at some point, your life fills up again. And not because you wake up one morning and announce, "Today, I shall rebuild." God, imagine. I'd need to lie down by 11. It just happens. You meet people, you go places, you change. You start wanting things you wouldn't have imagined wanting back then. There are entire parts of you now that this person has never even met. And then one day something reminds you of them, and you think, God, that was a whole life, wasn't it? And then you carry on. And maybe that's it. Maybe getting over someone was never really the point. Maybe I didn't need to get over him. I just needed to get my own life back. And now that I have, I can let that old life have been what it was. It doesn't need to disappear. I just don't live there anymore.